Ready for dinner? Ready for some baseball? Sun Life Stadium as the Marlins get ready to go against the Atlanta Braves tonight. As the Braves are in town for a 3-game series, a young 21-year-old makes his first career start against division rivals and a ball club that has lost 5 in a row. Sees an old friend come back to a familiar place. Here's where these two teams sit in the standings right now. The Marlins and the Braves, both 4 behind the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. For the Marlins, Tommy, a 5-game losing streak. Who better to stop it against than the Atlanta Braves?
Well, the Atlanta Braves over the last 10 games, they've gone 5-5. The Marlins over their last 10 games have gone 2-8. So Atlanta really not working on all cylinders, and certainly the Marlins aren't either.
Okay, well, let's take some of the cylinders that are working for both of the teams. For the Marlins, yes, they've lost 5 in a row and were swept by the Brewers. They had trouble driving runners in with scoring position. Yesterday, Logan Morrison kind of got over that hump, and a bat that's been alive throughout has been Omar Infantes.
I think it was good at least to finish off that series. Even though the Marlins were swept in 4 games, it was good to see Logan Morrison and a couple of other bats have good swings. Lomo twice went the other way to get himself a base hit, got a double on that second one. And Omar Infante in his 3-hit game has been on fire. He's had hits in 12 of his last 15 for a .356 average, line drive after line drive. That's been great to see from Omar Infante, and certainly the outstanding defense as well. He's made just 1 error this year.
Okay, now for the Braves, everybody knows that Dan Uggla is struggling, but a guy that was an all-star last year is playing like an all-star this year, and that's Martin Prado.
If you talk to the Atlanta Braves, if you talk to Freddie Gonzalez, he'll tell you 2 guys have been the steadiest all year. Martin Prado is one of them, and the other is Brian McCann. Now, McCann not in the lineup tonight. Prado has 8 home runs this year, 33 RBIs, and look at the difference through June 6th last year. The average is down, but the production is up for Martin Prado, a steady player.
Imagine being a 21-year-old about to make your Major League debut, and that's what is going on inside the lefty out of Minnesota, and that's Brad Hand.
Yeah, you know, you try to clear your mind, and I'm sure John Buck is going to be a big help behind the plate. But Brad Hand was having a terrific year in Double-A. He was 7-1, good fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. The bottom line, we'll see how he controls those emotions tonight.
Tommy Hanson goes for the Atlanta Braves. Hanson, the beard getting thicker, the record getting better, the ERA getting lower.
Yeah, the control pretty good, too. That's getting pretty good. He beat the Marlins. The only loss they had in that 3-game series in Atlanta. Hanson pitched well in that game.
All right, the scene is set. The Marlins try to snap this 5-game bender. Dan Uggla's back in town. When we get back, we'll talk about the deal that sent Uggla one way, Infante and Dunn the other. Off to a very good start, but a chance to turn it around tonight against the Atlanta Braves. Let's go out to the booth out in left field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
Still, Rich, looked a little funny to see Dan Ugla with that A there, talking about the Marlins as a different team when we talked to him before the game, and Freddie Gonzalez as well. Should make for an exciting series between these two teams that have had a terrific rivalry from the playoffs to the NL East. Let's talk about the trade that happened in the offseason, and certainly going down the line, I think this is going to benefit both teams. Right now, the Braves, and I'm sure there's some Braves fans wondering what the heck is going on with our second baseman. Marlin fans know they got a good one in Dan Ugla, but he's having a rough season. Signed a $60 million deal. We'll show you some of the numbers for these guys. Dan Ugla for Atlanta, and Omar Infante, Mike Dunn for the Marlins.
Obviously, you look at what's going on right now with Dan Ugla, and you're saying this is a lopsided trade. Mike Dunn's been outstanding in the back end of the bullpen. Omar Infante struggled a little bit, who's been swinging the bat very well, very solid at second base. You know what, Dan Ugla, there's no one on this earth that feels worse than he does about his numbers right now in the city of Atlanta. But they got a good quality player, a good quality person, and he's going to pick it up.
Sounds like he's trying to handle it as best as possible. We talked with him before the game.
You know, you can look at it a bunch of different ways and try to make excuses about it, but it's just one of those things. You know, I've had a rough start to this year. For whatever reason, who knows? I mean, people can say the contract, the pressure, a new city, a new team. You know, you can say all that stuff, but, you know, for me, it's just I've had a rough start. I'm going to battle and try and get out of it.
And perhaps South Florida will be the tonic for Dan Ugla. The Fishes certainly hope that Dan Ugla has a great season outside of the 18 games they match up with against the former Power second baseman for the Fish. The Braves and the Fish coming up. Game 1 of 3 next.
By Toyota, moving forwards, by AT&T, by All Year Cooling, today's comfort, yesterday's prices, and by FP&L. Constantly working to make its system stronger, smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient to offer reliable service today and for years to come. Visit FPNLConnect.com to learn more. Sun Life Stadium, the Atlanta Braves and the Florida Marlins ready to begin a 3-game series. The Braves come in at 32-28. The Marlins at 31-27. And the Braves lineup looks this way. Jordan Schaefer is brought to you by Warren Henry. Alex Gonzalez, Martin Prado follows. Chipper Jones, Freddie Freeman, Dan Ugla, David Ross, Joe Mather, and Tommy Hanson. And the first pitch in Brad Hand's career is fouled off for a strike, and it's 0-1. There's a look at the 21-year-old out of Chaska, Minnesota.
It's great to see a youngster make his major league debut, and even better to see him throw a strike on the first pitch. His last time out was June 2nd against Carolina. But you see the record, the number's very good at AA Jacksonville.
0-1 pitch. There's the breaking ball, and Schaefer swings through it.
We'll tell you a little bit about the stuff that Brad Hand features. A fastball that'll range anywhere from 88 to 92. Good curveball, which you just saw, and a changeup.
Schaefer lays off that ball. Schaefer was the opening day center fielder for the Braves back in 2009, sporting a little bit of a shiner there. Had some wrist issues and some injuries that slowed down his path to the big leagues. With Nate McLouth on the disabled list, Schaefer's been in center field, been in that leadoff spot.
Yeah, the Braves have a couple of their regulars on the disabled list. The outstanding young right fielder, Jason Hayward, is on the DL along with McLouth.
And a very good run at AA this year, 7-1. And another good breaking ball is fouled into the seats. It's really hard, and you hear it from managers, hitting coaches, pitching coaches, trying to tell youngsters when they make that step into the big leagues, just do what got you here. Don't try to do more than you've been doing.
Well, by Hand starting tonight, he's the first left-hander to start a game for the Marlins this year.
This is up and in. Obviously, the Braves will have dipped down into their AA scouts for a scouting report on this lefty. 2-2 coming. And he overthrew that one. The count goes to 3-2.
Not sure if that was the curve of the changeup, but grip held a little bit too long. I think it really helps a young pitcher to have a veteran back there in John Buck to try to keep him calm, keep him settled down.
Hands 3-2 now to Schaefer. It's down low. Jordan Schaefer works a walk. He was behind in the count 0-2, and up comes Alex Gonzalez.
Check on the defense tonight, brought to you by Warren Henry, with Lomo, Coughlin, and Stanton in the outfield. Dobbs, Bonifacio, Infante, and Sanchez around that infield. And as mentioned, John Buck behind the plate.
Here is Gonzo. Alex Gonzalez moved up into that 2 spot with the injuries to McLouth and to Hayward. Freddie Gonzalez has had to shuffle the lineup a bit, move guys up. Gonzalez, as in Freddie, in his first year. And, of course, a familiar face around these parts. Nice run as the Marlins manager. 3.5 years here in South Florida. Of course, he's a South Florida guy, Southridge High School. And Hand misses low and inside, and it's 1-1. If you're the opposing manager or opposing hitting coach, what do you do with a rookie making his major league debut on the mound?
You want your hitters to be patient and see as many pitches as they can. That way you have an idea of what he throws. Schaefer has a little speed at first base, but the Braves certainly are not a team that runs a lot. The Braves have just 11 steals this year as a team. They've been caught 16 times.
Wow.
So there's the fewest stolen bases. If you see Atlanta Braves running, it's usually in a hit and run situation.
Counts 1-2. And Gonzalez fouls it back and out of play. It stays at 1-2 to the Braves shortstop. All your cooling brings us the weather. 84 degrees. Mostly cloudy. The tarp crew was actually standing by during batting practice, but no rain fell on the playing field. Hand checks the runner and misses up with a fastball. And talking to Marlin folk, that's one of the things that they've really tried to work with him on his way up the minor league ladder is not overthrowing, staying nice and compact.
Yeah, and the thing that he told us yesterday that he really has worked on from his time in A-ball last year up in Jupiter to Double-A is spotting that fastball with command, and he gets a little help from Gonzo chasing a pitch out of the zone.
His first career strikeout. Gonzo goes after a running fastball.
And also, Rich, he's a little different pitcher than he was when he came out of high school, Chaska High School in Minneapolis, or outside of Minneapolis. He was a max effort, 94-mile-an-hour guy with a big curveball. Wayne Rosenthal, Marlins pitching coordinator in the minor leagues. They worked with him to try to compact everything, make him pitch a little bit more, utilize the changeup a little bit, and the fastball's in the 88 to 92 range.
Probably a few high school hitters that would have swung at a pitch like that. You won't see many big league hitters swing at a pitch like that for strike three.
And in high school, you can get by with 2 pitches if you have a 94-mile-an-hour fastball.
Martin Prado, the All-Star last year.
It's also tough now for a manager, for Freddie Gonzalez, to put a hit and run on because you're not sure of the youngster's control.
And going to go over to first, and Schaefer is back over there. He was 7-1, the ERA about 3.5 in Jacksonville. A 3-sport star up in Minnesota. Chaska, good breaking ball, and it's 1-2. He was a first baseman and pitcher for the baseball team. Played football and played hockey. Who doesn't up there in Minnesota? And he passed up a baseball scholarship to Arizona State to sign with the Marlins. Second-round pick in 2008.
There's
almost like he turns it over.
Yeah, a little change-up, has a little fade to it. But by all accounts and everybody we've talked to, a good makeup for a pitcher.
He threw it again.
Yeah, came back with it again. That's good. And a lot of that is John Buck.
I was just about to say, it really helps when you're making your Major League debut to have a guy like John Buck behind the plate to help you out.
Yeah, guarantee Martin Prado didn't think he was going to get another changeup, and especially in Fox mode.
And a little emergency swing kept Prado's at bat alive. 1 out, Schaefer's at first, and Hand misses inside. Braves and Marlins have played only 3 times this year, and that was in Atlanta. The Marlins won 2 of the 3. Runner goes, Hand to the plate. Fly ball center field. Coughlin has a look at it, and he makes the catch.
And that was good because Schaefer had a tremendous jump. So on the fly ball out, Schaefer has to retreat to first base. Yeah, he got a huge jump. He's looking to see what Prado does.
And now the matchup that you're really interested in, and what a contrast this is. You've got Chipper Jones against a guy making his big league debut, Brad Hand. Runner goes, and there's another tremendous jump. Schaefer steals it. That puts a runner in scoring position. A 1-0 count to Chipper.
Yeah, 2 big jumps. He'll have to work on that. No chance at all for Buck.
For Chipper Jones, this is his 9,885th plate appearance in the big leagues. And for Hand, of course, this is the 4th batter he's ever faced in the big leagues.
How about for Chipper Jones? It's his 225th game against the Marlins.
See his numbers this year. Mix in 16 doubles. His on-base percentage this year, .352. And a swing and a miss at the changeup. Suddenly for Brad Hand, that's become a very good pitch here. And of course his career splits almost right down the middle in terms of average.
He's been one of the best switch hitters over the years in consistency against both lefties and righties.
On base percentage in his career is over 400. 1-2 pitch. That was the fastball, and it's 2-2.
And Rich, of course, the great story was when Brad Hand found out he was getting called up. His manager, Andy Barquette, called him in and said, "We're going to go over the scouting report for Birmingham." That was the team he was going to pitch against. And he goes, "Well, you got Uggla, you got Chipper Jones." And then they both looked at each other. Good changeup.
In the air. Coghlan over for it, and 1 inning in the books for Brad Hand. And it's a scoreless inning. Good start for the 21-year-old rookie.
Por KFC.
In Miami tonight, the Marlins and the Braves. Warren Henry brings you the lineups, the Warren Henry advantage. Chris Coghlan trying to get it going right now. He leads it off. Omar Infante does have it going on. He's up to 263. Lomo drove in a couple runs, had 3 hits last night. Gabby's been steady all season long. So is Greg Dobbs. Mike Stanton's in right. John Buck doing the catching. Emilio Bonifacio still at short with Hanley on the disabled list. He hits 8th, and Hand is in the 9 spot. There's a look at Tommy Hanson.
Well, Tommy Hanson having another solid year. Last year he won 10 games. He lost 11 but had a very good 3.33 ERA. Has always pitched well against the Marlins. 4-1 in his career.
Coghlan leads it off. Chris takes a fastball right down the middle. Tim Welke is our home plate umpire with Andy Fletcher, Mike DeMuro, and Jim Reynolds on the bases. You see Coghlan's season number against the Braves, and that is right in line with his career number against the Braves. Some guys just hit some teams. Chris Coghlan is on the all-Brave killing team right now. He has hit in 23 of his 25 games, and that's including a 20-game hit streak. And it all adds up to a 388 average. 40 hits in 25 games. Hanson, kind of a dart thrower of a right-hander, misses outside. It's 1-2.
Yeah, he has that delivery kind of like the way a catcher throws, short arm. Sometimes guys who throw that way are tough to pick up.
Just missed. Well, the Marlins would agree with him because he's 4-1 with a 2.64 ERA against the Fish. And this is his 8th start against the Marlins. He's only 24. Coghlan drives that ball to left center field. Schaefer on the run, won't get it. It goes to the wall, and Coghlan has got himself a leadoff double. That's the pitch, Tommy, that he's been letting get by him more often than not this year.
A lot of times he has taken that pitch down and away for strike 3. This time a great swing by Chris Coghlan, and the streak continues against the Braves, crushing Atlanta pitching over the last 3 years. And that, for Chris Coghlan, his 18th double on the year.
So here is a former Brave, Omar Infante. Infante, along with Ugla and Dunn and Freddie Gonzalez and Carlos Tosca, everybody had that get-together in Atlanta. This is the first reunion, so to speak, here in South Florida. First of 3 visits for the Braves. And Infante fouls a pitch back. Omar coming off a 3-hit night last night, where he had his 8th double of the season.
So many times, Rich, in the series against Milwaukee, we focused on pitchers giving up home runs, late-inning runs. Instead of focusing on some of the little things early in the game, where the Marlins had opportunities to score either a run or to add on.
And here's one of those opportunities. You can see Infante trying to push that ball to the right side. 0-2.
Now, every once in a while, this is where Infante gets in a little trouble. It all depends on where this pitch is. He'll still try to hit the ball the other way, but he'll try to do it if Hansen even runs a fastball in on him. And that's a tough pitch to go the other way with.
0-2. That one up. David Ross behind home plate with Brian McCann getting the day off. Ross is a very good catcher. In fact, he may be the best backup catcher in all of baseball.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Swings the bat, calls a good game.
Breaking ball, ground ball, chipper far to his left, and he whips it across in time to get Infante.
And we'll look at the Braves defensively, brought to you by Warren Henry, Martin Prado, Jordan Schaefer, good speed in center, Joe Mather in right, Chipper, Gonzo, Dan Ugla, Freddie Freeman. And behind the plate, we were just talking about David Ross.
Here's Logan Morrison. 3 hits in last night's ball game, driving in 2 runs. So he's up to 21 runs driven in, has a dozen doubles. And 2 of the 3 hits drove in runs, which I think psychologically for Morrison was a big hurdle to get over.
Absolutely. They will scout the right-hander, Tommy Hansen. Very aggressive, goes after hitters, likes to use that slider as an out pitch. And be careful over at first base. It's a quick move.
Coughlin's at second. A leadoff double. There's 1 out. Hansen spins around. Hansen did face the Marlins in early April when the Marlins were in Atlanta. He pitched the opener of that series, and he pitched darn well. He went 7 innings, didn't give up a run, and the Braves won that ball game 5-0. The Marlins would win the next 2 games of that series. And so this the first of the remaining 15 games between the Braves and the Marlins.
It's amazing that the Marlins have only played the Braves 3 times this year.
Breaking ball, that's down. That's a pretty good looking pitch. And you saw David Ross's head snap a little bit.
He's had a couple of close pitches. He had a pitch that he thought was a strike to Chris Coughlin that was called a ball. But Tommy Hansen last year led the Braves in strikeouts and tied their pitching staff in starts. So he was busy and active.
(3-0) to Logan Morrison. Gabby Sanchez is on deck. Marlins trying to get off to a good start tonight and give their rookie lefty a lead against this Atlanta Brave bunch. He has the same look on his face as he did last night. It's kind of that, hey, man, this is cool. Here's the 3-0. Morrison went after it, and he popped it up. Chipper Jones makes the catch. Boy, that's a 3-0 pitch. Morrison had a rip at it.
But again, going back to that situation, trying to do too much. I honestly think, and who knows, I probably would have said something different if he hits a liner into the gap. But a young hitter who has struggled recently with runners in scoring position, give him the take sign 3-0. I think Gabby's okay. You got to be a veteran hitter to know what to do on a 3-0 pitch.
We've heard Jeff Conine say many times he, throughout his career, did not like swinging at 3-0 pitches. Just did not feel comfortable.
And I know he's coming off a game where he did swing the bat well yesterday with 3 hits, but a different story tonight.
So it's up to Gabby if the Marlins are going to cash in this inning. Gabby last night an 0 for 4 night. Hansen misses away and he goes 2-0. Tommy Hansen has thrown 15 pitches, only 7 of them strikes. Coughlin still at second. Dropped in a breaking ball for a strike, and it's 2-1. Hansen, just like Logan Morrison, was in that last class of draftees that was eligible for the draft and follow, the junior college guys. Hansen was out of Riverside Community College, drafted in 05, but they didn't sign him until 06. Gabby's had a patient at bat. It's 3-1.
That's kind of the same way you look at both and you say, boy, they were drafted a little down in the order. Hansen, a 22nd round draft pick.
Let's see what Gabby gets. 3-1. He got a fastball and he was looking for it, and he flat out missed it. 93 miles an hour.
It's interesting. Logan Morrison also a 22nd round pick. Coughlin's been out there a while. Leadoff double.
Infante couldn't move him over. He bounced to third. Morrison couldn't get him in. He popped out to third. 3-2. Outside corner. Down goes Gabby Sanchez. The Marlins waste a leadoff double. As we head to the second, Dan Uggla coming up in a scoreless game. And the Atlanta Braves matched up in a scoreless game. It's an email Tuesday, foxsportsflorida.com. Click on the Marlins link, scroll down, and type in your question. Put your name in there and send it away. We'll get to as many as we can on this Tuesday night here in Miami with the Marlins and the Braves matching up. Freddie Freeman, Dan Uggla, and David Ross. Freeman's been hot, and he swings at the first pitch and fouls it off.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman on a tear, 5-game hit streak. Got his average up to 277. Brad Hand in the first inning threw 25 pitches, 15 strikes.
And he misses down low. Freeman, over his last 8 games, has moved his average up 34 points, 15 of 33. Freeman, much like Mike Stanton out of Southern California, and just like Mike Stanton, is 21 years old.
They kind of showed up on some of those area code games in Southern California, along with Drew Storen.
Here's the 2-1. Ground ball, Gabby way off. It's going to be a race with Hand, and he drops the ball as he gets there.
You know what? He was a little late. He hesitated just a bit. John Buck was yelling. So it was a little closer than it should have been, and Hand couldn't make the catch, and he's going to be charged with an error. It's a good feed by Gabby, and he's there in plenty of time, but trying to catch the ball and look for the bag, just couldn't complete it. Yeah, that's a perfect feed. You want it chest high, but he's looking down at the bag. Let's see if he gets over there right away. Not bad. Not too bad.
So here's Dan Uggla now, and Uggla takes down low. Fastball that misses. And you see Uggla's numbers. The power numbers, not so bad. 7 homers. He's driven in just 16, though. Obviously, the batting average at 172. Uggla last year hit 287 and had a 369 on base percentage. Pumped out 33 homers and 105 driven in. Those are his career numbers with the Marlins. Of course, a 2-time All-Star. Won the Silver Slugger last year.
And over the years, we've seen Dan Uggla make the change. Sometimes wear the pant legs up a little higher, sometimes wearing him down. So right about now, he's probably trying anything to move from that 172 batting average.
Marlins offered him 4 years at 48. He wanted more, so the Fish traded him to Atlanta. Uggla, big swing and a miss. And they count 2-2. Marlins getting Omar Infante and Mike Dunn in return. Infante has been brilliant at second base defensively. His bat is starting to perk up. He's not the offensive producer that Uggla is. And Dunn has been a very nice piece in the bullpen. 2-2 coming.
I think the interesting numbers that Omar Infante right now coming into this game has one more RBI than Dan Uggla.
Uggla's played very well defensively.
You know, when I hear Braves people say that, I say, I know. Because everybody seems to be surprised at that.
Runner goes. Uggla hooks one. And it's foul.
And of course, Dan got the bad rep after the 3 errors in the All-Star game. But we saw him progress as a defensive second baseman every year. He got better.
Well, he had a good rip at that pitch, and the Braves are running on Brad Hand because Freeman was on the move. He's running again. Uggla lines it to right. Stanton is there. Got a shot at first. He loads up. Here's the throw. Got him. Double play.
Oh, and nicely done by Gabby Sanchez, too. He gave it a little cheat move, kind of like you do on a close bang-bang play. The thing I liked about that from Mike Stanton, he slowed the game down. He didn't rush it. He didn't come up and fire it over Gabby's head. There goes Freeman. He watches the line drive. Now he realizes it's caught. Mike Stanton with a perfect one-hop throw, and then look at Gabby get out of there. It's our checkers double play of the game. Yeah.
So some help for the youngster. Uggla hit it on the button. And here is David Ross. Ross in the backup role doing quite well. Braves love him. They gave him a 2-year contract. This is the first year of that 2-year contract, $3.5 million. In fact, our first email of the night has to do with catchers. It's from Dave in Coral Springs. If the catcher is the most important player on the field, how come he's not the highest paid player on the field? Swing and a miss. In Minnesota, he is.
Yeah, in Minnesota, he is, absolutely. Well, a lot of times, too, if you think about it, though, a catcher isn't going to play more than 120, 130 games. And because of that, maybe their production isn't going to be like a power hitting third baseman or an outfielder.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Popped up in the air. And Gabby into foul territory is there, and he makes the catch. So Brad Hand so far, 2 scoreless innings. Marlins, this July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox. Tommy Hanson will get Greg Dobbs, Mike Stanton, and John Buck in a scoreless ball game in the bottom of the second inning. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine with us. Dobbs stands in, goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball. Joe Mather out in right field. With Jason Hayward on the disabled list, he makes the catch. And there's an out. Allison Williams is with us tonight as well. Email from Chris in Tampa with JJ and Hanley on the disabled list. Do you think a trade is in the offing? If so, should the Marlins trade for a pitcher or a hitter?
Well, it's one of those things. I think we start looking for trades a little deeper into the season. And number two, when you have key players like Hanley and like JJ, obviously the other teams know you have a need, and so they're not going to be striking up great deals with you.
Breaking ball misses. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. And of course there are other teams that have significant injuries. The Braves being without Jason Hayward right now is a blow to them. Stanton couldn't hold up, and it's 1-2. Mike has faced Tommy Hanson 9 times and has 4 hits against him, but has not homered against him. Hanson figures he'll bury another one. You know, it's always fun to watch a team come in after a team like the Brewers were here and had some success against Marlin hitters, because you'll see the Braves pitchers going after the same weak spots and throwing the same pitches that guys were struggling on.
That's because, you know, the Atlanta Braves advanced scout was here for that 4-game series.
And of course the Marlins advanced scout advanced the Braves in their last series. Here's a 3-2. Took it outside.
And a good job by Mike Stanton to lay off that pitch with a 3-2 count.
Full season ticket plans in the new Marlins ballpark available now. The Diamond Club already sold out. Several other premium areas are close to capacity, so secure your seats today. Just call the new Marlins ballpark sales headquarters, 1-877-411-2012, or go to marlins.com/new ballpark. Here is John Buck. Fouls the first pitch off. Jay in Plantation wants to know, wouldn't Mike Stanton be a better asset hitting third, feeling that when he hits sixth, he doesn't have the best of protection?
I think somewhere down the line Mike Stanton will move up, but probably not as a number 3 hitter. You like your number 3 hitter to be someone who's going to be more in the 300 range and also drive in runs. Mike's a power guy. More than likely he's going to be a number 4 or 5 hitter.
So the challenge, I guess, would be, as you look at that last call, pitch was off the plate. The challenge would be is finding a 5th or a 6th guy to hit behind him, which isn't a bad place to be. If you're a good hitter, you'd like to hit behind a Mike Stanton, because you're going to get opportunities with him at first base or him at second base.
But here's a situation. He's a right-handed batter, and just say take Greg Dobbs, who's hitting in front of Mike Stanton.
1-2.
And is a veteran hitter. If you're a pitcher in a tight situation, you're probably going to go after Stanton, a right-handed pitcher. You're going to pitch around Dobbs to get to Mike Stanton. But I think things will change as he becomes a better hitter and matures.
Here's Bonifacio now. Been a tough homestand for Bonifacio, just 1 for 14. And he takes ball 1.
And some tough plays at short.
Yes.
Defensively as well.
But with Hanley Ramirez on the disabled list, at least for the next week, it's pretty much Bonifacio going to be in the lineup and be out at short as you go. Stanton chase back. Mike has not done much running at all this year after the injury in spring training, the hamstring issue. Pitch in the dirt, and not far enough for Stanton to move up. Ross runs it down.
That's a pitch. If you're a runner, you see the ball, and you see that it's not that far away from David Ross, even though Bonifacio is saying Bonifacio is thinking that Stanton runs like him.
Here's the 2-0. Hanson, a 2-0 breaking ball for a strike. Two-1. You'll like this email, Tommy. This is from Chuck.
You're not throwing an angry one at me early,
in Boynton Beach. Do you guys know that you don't have to talk all the time? Do you get paid by the word? That's from Chuck. Inning over, and Tommy, we still get paid for the inning. Just like that.
There goes my bonus.
Scoreless going to the third. Thanks, Chuck. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Florida Marlins.
You want me to quit talking and texting?
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Watching a 21-year-old lefty out of Chaska, Minnesota, make his major league debut. Brad Hand, so far, so good. He has walked one. He has struck out one. Freddie Freeman reached on an error, and it's Joe Mather who steps in and takes down low. Tommy Hanson will follow, then back up to the top of the order, and Jordan Schaefer.
I think in a situation like Brad Hand's, if you get 5 solid innings out of him, you feel very good. Coming into this inning, he'd thrown 40 pitches, 25 in the first inning, 15 in the second.
Two-0 pitch to Mather. Mather climbed his way up in the Cardinals organization, spent parts of 2008 and then last year with St. Louis. Born in Sandpoint, Idaho. Raised in Arizona. Third-round pick by the Cardinals all the way back in 2001. Goes after that 3-1 pitch and pops it foul. Count full. Brad Hand so far, 45 pitches. Not the best of ball strike ratios, 25-20. 25 strikes, 20 balls. Here's a 3-2. Seems to have good life on the fastball.
Yeah, he's stayed in that 91 to 92, 93 range. The other thing about a young pitcher, and John Buck certainly good back there, you're not sure if you want to call the changeup in a 3-2 pitch, or you want to just stay with the fastball.
Fastball popped up. Infante is out, and Omar makes the catch. Let's go to Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, what better news than to hear that your son is going to the major leagues? And to my left here, these are the grandparents of Mr. Hand, and this is Lon Hand, Brad's dad. And what an exciting night. Put this emotion into words for us there, Lon.
Yeah, it's been a dream of his for a long time, so it's a lot of fun.
Very emotional for you, I'm sure. Now, it just so happened your wife is sitting down there with Brad's sister, and they were in Jacksonville anyhow to watch him pitch in the AA.
Yeah, they were down for last Thursday's game, and then we're supposed to fly back today. Canceled that, stayed down here for this one, and my his grandparents were down here for Thursday, so we're going to stay also. So
they weren't upset that he had a chance to pitch in AA and they didn't get to see a AA game?
The few extra miles didn't matter either, so it's been real exciting.
And now this is the great news too, is Grandma here, Shirley, right, is keeping score of the game.
Well, yes.
Are you doing that for him or for you or both?
I'm doing it for myself.
How exciting is this to see your grandson on the mound?
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Hey, he was a hockey player. Did he play football also?
Yep, played football also. Yep.
Was he as good in those those sports, and also as he gets a strikeout here?
Yeah, pretty all-around football player. Played quarterback, linebacker, hockey. Led the team in scoring his junior and senior year, and could have played college hockey too. Yep.
But baseball was the thing that drove him.
The last 3 or 4 years of high school, it became apparent that baseball was going to be the deal for him. So, yep.
Does it feel real here tonight for you?
It's I don't know. It'll probably sink in tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Nice to visit with the Hand family. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Craig. And Brad Hand has 2 outs here in the third inning. Jordan Schaefer walked and stole a base back in the first. And misses way outside with a fastball, and it's 2-0.
Good to see him drop a nice curveball in for strike 3 to the pitcher. Sometimes you get a little comfortable, make it a little easier. Now he has to try to keep Schaefer off the bases.
2-1. That one flipped into the seats. FoxSportsFlorida.com. Click on the Marlins link. Scroll down. Emails are stacking up. We have some Brad Hand emails. Two just missed.
John Buck wanted that fastball outside, just missed off the plate.
3-2. A lot of balls in the air. Coughlin in. Morrison's calling, and Lomo makes the catch. And Brad Hand has turned in 3 scoreless innings in his Major League debut. The Marlins and the Braves are scoreless. As the Braves and the Marlins open up this 3-game series, Tickets of America interactive poll. What do you like most about the new Marlins ballpark? Air conditioning, better food selection, better sight lines, great view of Miami, no rain delays. 789-789. Coming up in the minor leagues, pitchers do not start to hit until Double-A. And that's only when National League affiliates play National League affiliates. As a result, Brad Hand doesn't have a whole lot of ABs. There you are, 2 for 14. All have come this year at the Double-A level. Actually, all but 2.
He had 2 at-bats prior.
He finished last year in Double-A. He got 2 at-bats there. But you heard Dad say he's an all-around athlete. He was a first baseman in high school. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-2. Do you like that rule?
No.
That pitchers don't get to hit until they get to Double-A?
No, let them swing the bat.
Here's the 0-2. And strike 3 called. Hand goes down. Hansen picks up his 3rd strikeout.
And they get up here, and we all wonder why they can't hit. They might have a better chance if they swung the bat. I know they give the opportunity. Here's the deal. The kid they're giving the opportunity to, he probably never makes it to the big leagues. The pitcher's the one who's going to get to the big leagues. Let him hit.
I'm with you on that. Here's Chris Coughlin. Coughlin double back in the first, continuing his incredible run against the Atlanta Braves. Is that 21 straight games now?
21-game hitting streak against the Braves.
24 of his 26 career games against the Braves, he has hits against them. Hialeah email has come in from Esteban. Why in most cases do Double-A pitchers get to the big leagues faster than Triple-A pitchers? As the Marlins saw in the cases of Alex Sanabia and Sean West, and now Brad Hand.
I think this year it seems to go that way a lot. I think this year it just happened to be that his turn came, plus he was pitching well. And Tom Kohler, Eli Villanueva, those 2 guys just hadn't been throwing as well as Hand had.
But that's changed. I mean, and it's been
years ago it wasn't that
10,
way.
15 years since it has flipped, in that most organizations have their best prospects at the AA level, and a lot of times the AAA team is a mixture of prospects and veteran guys that are kind of insurance policies.
Mm-hmm. And the guys that the Marlins had as insurance policies have been injured this year.
Well, and the guys that the Marlins had as prospects at AAA have not lit it up.
Alex Sanabia, Sean West as examples.
Right, those are the guys that have been hurt, but the two that you mentioned, Kohler and Villanueva, have not duplicated their success from AA last year. Coughlin back over at first.
It's actually interesting. In Villanueva's case, he hasn't duplicated what he did in the spring. I think we all thought, after seeing him throw exceptionally well this spring, that if he went out and continued to throw that way, that we would see him this year, and we still may.
Strike to Infante, because an organization will look down at a pitcher and yeah, Hand right now 7-1 in AA, but if he were 7-3 and had lost his last 3 starts, then he probably wouldn't be here. They look at how you've done over the last few games as well as your overall numbers. That's going to be a double play ball. Gonzo turns it as good as any in the big leagues, and Infante bounces into a double play. Tommy Hanson and Brad Hand trading zeros right now. She's going with the Bear Bryant look in a straw hat. I like it. Scoreless in the 4th. Baker Concrete Super Saturday this Saturday, and Ludacris will be here. Presented by your South Florida Ford dealers, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks at 7:10. Marlin fans get Thunder Sticks courtesy of New Era Caps. 1-877 Marlins. This is a big inning now for Brad Hand. It's the 2nd time through the meat of the order for the Braves. Alex Gonzalez, Martin Prado, and Chipper Jones.
I think you get to a point, and that's a great changeup, and I was going to continue that by saying that you might not get away with as many fastballs second time around. So to feature a good changeup and to show it, that's a good sign.
To left and deep and gone. And the Braves are on the board. Alex Gonzalez homers off of Brad Hand. for Gonzo, his 6th of the season. A guy that had a terrific offensive year last year. Gonzo makes it 1-0.
And that goes back to what I was saying. A fastball there. The hitters, second time around, will start to get on it a little better. And Alex Gonzalez with a solid swing on a 91-mile-an-hour fastball.
So here's Martin Prado. Prado flied to Coughlin back in the first. They had a lot of trade emails. RJ from Pembroke Pines with the Marlins' recent struggles. It's obvious that the Marlins are missing one bat in the lineup that can drive in runs. You think they should be on the lookout for a third baseman?
I always love those questions. Who is it from?
It's from RJ.
From RJ.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question, but throw in some choices. You know, it's easy to throw out the question. Who do you want to trade and who do you want to get?
Well, we could talk about some big name third basemen that might be on the market, but the Marlins probably aren't in a position to trade for them. One of them is Aramis Ramirez in Chicago, an enormous contract.
Who has 2 home runs this year, by the way.
And the other people are talking about the Mets may part ways with David Wright.
And he's on the disabled list as we speak.
Coughlin is there, and he makes the catch. And up comes Chipper Jones. Let's flip the phone. Who was the first general manager to win a World Series in both leagues? First general manager to win a World Series in both leagues. Well, I know Pat Gillick did it in the American and the National, winning in Toronto and then winning in Philadelphia, but someone must have done it before he did it. Bobby Cox was the general manager in Atlanta,
but then he took over as the manager.
So he didn't.
And then he hired himself.
Yes, he didn't
as the manager.
Didn't win as a general manager.
But who was the GM? John Schuerholz.
John Schuerholz, was he the general manager in Kansas City when the Royals won in '85? To right, Stanton is there, and Chipper is lined out.
I believe he might have been. The bottom line, the point I was making on RJ's question is that you hear people throw around these deals, and you have to realize there are other teams involved, and then it depends on who you have to give up. Let's say the Marlins had an interest in David Wright. Who do you think the Mets would want? They're going to want a Logan Morrison or a Mike Stanton, somebody like that.
Here's Freeman, who takes a breaking ball for a strike. Freddie Freeman hit a little tapper down the first baseline. Hand dropped the throw from Gabby Sanchez. So Brad Hand, there's a lot of firsts here tonight for Hand. Got his first strikeout of Alex Gonzalez, and then gave up his first home run from Alex Gonzalez.
Made his first error. Got his first at bat in the big leagues.
Pitch misses down low. A Donnie Murphy question out of it's from George. Wants to know what happened to Donnie Murphy. How come we never hear about him? Actually, we showed him the other night in the dugout. He continues to try to come back from that wrist injury.
When the team's at home, that's a good pitch.
Snapped it off. Down goes Freeman. Brad Hand gives up the home run to Alex Gonzalez. Finishes off Freeman. 1-0 Atlanta. and by Florida Power and Light. FP&L is constantly working to make its system stronger, smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient to offer reliable service today and for years to come. Visit fpnlconnect.com to learn more. Former Marlin going deep. Alex Gonzalez getting to Brad Hand with a solo homer.
Of course, with Alex's years as a Marlin, that was his 41st home run here in this ballpark. I don't think that includes postseason home runs, though, and that was his biggest.
Yeah, the postseason home run against the Yankees in extra innings, the walk-off shot down the left field line. But Tommy Hansen has the first lead to work with tonight. Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, and Greg Dobbs. Morrison takes a fastball for a strike. Morrison had a 3-0 count with a runner at second, and he popped it up. That one misses inside. Paul from Coral Springs. The first inning, you commented on Logan Morrison popping out on a 3-0 pitch. Paul has noticed recently a lot of green lights on 3-0 counts, particularly to young hitters.
Well, I think part of that, I mean, it's a catch-22. And I talked about it with Lomo. You like to see more of a veteran hitter, but part of that is when you're struggling offensively, you want to give a hitter maybe an opportunity to get a good fastball and have a good swing.
So would you agree that hitting it with a 3-0 count is much like learning how to drive in runners in scoring position? It's something that hitters have to learn in the big leagues?
As we talked about, it's an acquired taste.
Struck him out, and you heard Morrison. Morrison on his way to the dugout. We'll take a look on Fox Tracks. And it's inside.
I thought I picked up Lomo saying, and this is how intent he is and how sharp he is, talked about it being a four-seam fastball. The two-seamer is more likely to start there and move back over the plate on the inside corner. I thought I heard him say something like that to the home plate umpire, Tim Welke.
Yeah, I think he said that's a straight
that's a straight four-seamer.
Four-seamer, which, as we looked on the Fox Tracks, did not tail back to the strike zone. Gabby Sanchez now, Hansen's 1-0 pitch. And it's 1-1. Sanchez called out on strikes in the first. Speaking of umpires, an actual email umpire question.
I thought you were going to say we had an email from Angel Hernandez.
No. Dave in Jupiter. Who determines umpire schedules? What sort of rotation do they have? Ground ball to third. Backing up is Chipper. And he throws him out. Before we finish that email, we have to finish our AT&T trivia question. So let's flip the phone and find out if John Schuerholz is, in fact, the first general manager to win World Series in both leagues.
I think it might be.
Yes, it is. Kansas City 85, Atlanta 95. And do umpires travel with the team?
No, they do not, but I can remember a time, actually back in the 70s, when because of schedules, flight times, every once in a while, there would be an umpire on the team chart.
Really?
I can remember that, yeah. They, not sit back with the team, but maybe because they were going to a town and they couldn't catch a flight, and every once in a while that would happen.
Dobbs hits it to deep left center. Schaefer is back there, and he makes the catch. Yeah, I could just see the umpires in the back playing cards with everybody. That would go over well. 1-0, Atlanta on top. Going to the fifth. Atlanta on top. Let's bring in Allison Williams. Allie?
Thank you, Rich. For the previous 5 years, the Marlins had the dynamic duo of Dan Uggla and Hanley Ramirez in the middle of their infield. This year, though, the two separated, and they're having some surprising struggles at the plate.
It's hard for me to believe that I'm at where I'm at right now. But also to see Hanley, I'm pulling for him every day. It looks like we need each other or something, And but he's a great hitter, and he's going to continue to be a great hitter, and he's going to come out of his thing just like I'm going to come out of mine.
Uggla's numbers this year, just 172, only 7 home runs. And Hanley, of course, on the DL, but also struggling, hitting .210 with just 4 home runs and 17 RBI. Last year at this time, both much better. Hanley, .284, Uggla, .268, had nearly twice as many homers at that mark. So both guys trying to work their way through their struggles. Uggla said maybe it'll help to be back here in South Florida. He certainly feels comfortable here. But also, guys, a lot of his success came against the Braves. He hit 23 home runs against them, more than any other club. You wonder how much that has an effect. You kind of talked about that a little bit with Jason Worth going to the Nationals, a team he had a lot of success against. Rich, Tommy, back to you.
And Allison and Tommy, that was one of the benefits the Braves felt they were going to get with Uggla going to hit in Atlanta. He'd hit so well at Turner Field, and a changeup, Hand strikes out Uggla, and he's 0 for 2 tonight.
And made some good pitches. Twice Uggla chased that good changeup from Brad Hand.
Email from Richmond, Virginia. Lifelong Atlanta Braves fan here. This is from Doug, but a big Josh Johnson fan. Can you please update us on his injury and his progress? Well, the progress for Josh Johnson is that he is still throwing, not off the mound, but long tossing and waiting until his shoulder feels to the point where he can get up on a mound and throw a bullpen. And until he does that, he's at least 2 to 3 weeks away from the big leagues at the very least.
Kind of the progress is there has been no progress. It's just the playing catch, the long toss. But as you said, he has not gotten on the mound. And when he does, just the bullpen sessions I don't think are going to be enough. I think he'll have to have a rehab start or two.
Oh-2 pitch from Hand misses outside to David Ross. Ross popped out back in the second. Brad Hand has given up 1 hit. It was a long one. Alex Gonzalez's 6th homer of the season.
He's used his changeup and curveball a little bit better since that home run, too.
You can see that he's raw. He doesn't have a great move to first. He was a little unsteady getting over to cover first. But you can also see that he does have good stuff. And Wayne Rosenthal, the Marlins roving pitching coordinator, has smoothed out a lot of the herky-jerkiness in his delivery.
Yeah, it was a power fastball, a max effort fastball type out of high school, and Rosie did a lot of work with him to smooth things out. Amazingly, he lost his first game this year back on April 9th, and then ran off 7 consecutive wins.
And he strikes out David Ross. So a pair of strikeouts to open up the 5th inning. Time now to look at the upcoming Marlins schedule, brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Braves are here for 3 nights, including tonight, and then the Diamondbacks are in for a weekend series. Lowe and Nolasco tomorrow night, Jurgens and Volstad on Thursday night, actually. Just as we look forward to the upcoming schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men Hair Color. So here's Mather. Hand certainly has given the Marlins what they had hoped for. And he's trying to get through the 5th here. Mather popped out to Omar Infante at second base, his first AB. Ramstein, Germany. Luis. Or it might be Lewis, I'm not sure. In the Air Force, in Germany. Couple of questions. Lewis.
Going to have to wait.
Buck. Calling for it. And he gets a hand from Gabby.
Yeah.
The most dangerous dugouts in all of baseball, and they have been ever since they opened this place up.
I think the Breeze actually took that ball out of play initially, and even look at the reaction of Mather. He thought this ball was going to be in play and caught, and the Breeze took it just beyond the reach of John Buck.
Dangerous because there's no railing. Dangerous because the steps end before the roof.
Look at that. Brett Hayes over there with the shin guards on. He was ready to help out, too. A couple of guys who were inseparable. Hayes and Buck.
There's the 1-1. Lewis wants to know if making a trade is complicated. Will there be any free agents on the market next year that the Marlins would go after as well? Are the Marlins planning on going overseas again? He missed his last one due to deployment. And I think the answer to that is yes.
I think the answer is yes. Yeah.
Marlins are going to continue that. They've done it twice now, and they will do it, from what I've been told, every year forward. The free agents, you're going to have to wait probably 2-3 months to see exactly who is going to fall out of the tree, so to speak. That one fouled back to the screen.
Yeah, so much of that you have to see who is available, and then you have to determine what are your needs. And in this offseason, the Marlins addressed their needs. Bullpen being one, defense being another.
Here's the 2-2. Back to hand, and he falls over, and it goes by him, and Infante picks it up.
Not sure if it ever glanced off his glove or if he touched it, but it's an out.
Hey, an out's an out. Style points, not so much. Last night, when the Marlins announced their first-round draft pick was Jose Fernandez out of Alonzo High School over in Tampa. Here's some footage of him. You thought, all right, he looks like a big, hard-throwing right-hander, and that he is. And the more you dig into his story, the more amazing it is. His escape from Cuba, being placed in a Cuban jail, finally getting to the United States, pitching his school to 2 state championships, and now the Marlins select him in the first round. And he joins us now on the phone. First of all, Jose, congratulations on being selected in the first round.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Did you have any anticipation as to what team might pick you before you were picked by the Marlins?
I mean, I knew the Kansas City, the San Diego Padres, Houston, number 12 the Brewers, number 15 the Brewers again, 16 the Dodgers, 17 the Angels. I mean, those guys, they were like, talking to me. The only guys that wasn't talking to me was Marlins. It was a big surprise for me, and I'm really happy right now.
Do you watch Marlins games over there, or do you watch Rays games, or do you watch both?
I mean, I just watch every game, I just watch every game. I just want to learn. I like the Marlins, I'm not going to lie. I like them. And for the draft me, I like them, but now I like them more. So, I mean, when they picked me, it was a big surprise, and it was great.
Mike Stan hits a ground ball wide of Chipper Jones. Gonzalez fires it to first in time. Let's talk about your story. Some of the details, just amazing what you went through to get to the United States. If you can, tell us about the struggles to get out of Cuba, including actually being put in jail. At what age were you in jail?
I mean, I tried 4 times to get over here. The first time they come to Cuba. The second time they come to Miami. They back there in Cuba. Third time I tried to get out of Cuba. I couldn't. We were in jail again, and they let me go home. I escaped 4 times to get to Mexico. Now I am here in Tampa.
And how long have you been in Tampa?
Like 3 years.
So you've spent 3 years at Alonzo High School. Your English is very good. You must be a very good student because you picked it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, when I get here in 1 year, I start learning really fast, and I start talking and try to do my best. You know what I mean? I still got some problems with it, but I'm just trying to do my best.
Is it true that in your last boat trip, the trip that you went to Mexico, your mother actually was on the boat and she fell out of the boat, and you were the one that dove into the ocean to rescue her?
That's exactly right. I mean, I was in charge of, looking at people. We got some good swimmer on. I was a sport player. I wasn't that kid that, I got to be in charge of everyone because I know how to swim good, and somebody fell in the boat. I went and jumped in the water, and when I realized it was my mom.
Let's talk a little baseball with you, stuff-wise. Velocity, breaking ball, changeup. What do you feature?
I mean, my stuff in the field is incredible, and I work hard and practice every time I go out there. Try to do my best out there all the time I go on. I just, I mean, pushing 99, 100. It feels good. It feels good.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you. Are you going to be in Miami soon? Will we get a chance to meet you?
Thursday. I'm going to be down there on the field Thursday.
All right. Well, we'll be down to say hello. Congratulations. And what a story it is, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Hey, when we see you, we'll just say we're the 2 guys that you talked to on TV the other night. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, that is an incredible story. The details didn't start to get out last night until, later in the ball game. And when I got home, I had a chance to, just on the computer, look at the story. And 4 times he tried to escape from Cuba. And they caught him, threw him in jail. His family was with him the 4th time.
The story with his mother in the boat, too. Incredible.
And here is so at that point he would be like a 16-year-old kid, and his job was to look after everyone, and if anybody fell in, he was the guy that had to go in and save them. So he'll be here on Thursday.
So facing down Albert Pujols with bases loaded is not going to be that traumatic.
I read from a Marlins executive something along those lines, that you look for guys that have overcome adversity in their lives, and obviously this guy has overcome an awful lot. John Buck rolls one into center field, and he's got a base hit with 1 out here in the 5th inning.
Well, only the 2nd hit for the Marlins tonight. They get the leadoff double in the bottom of the 1st from Chris Cogley. And that was a good at bat by John Buck. Fouled off a number of pitches.
He knew we were doing a phone interview.
And yeah, he obliged and allowed us to complete that interview and got himself a base hit.
Here comes Bonifacio. We've had a few draft pick questions, and I scrolled by it, so I apologize if I don't have the name on the email. But someone wanted a Christian Yelich update. Yelich is one of the Marlins' first-round picks from a few years ago.
All right, here's the update. Fine young hitter, highly regarded in the organization, and he's just 19 years old. He's in low A ball, but he's hitting a solid 278 in 51 games, 4 home runs, 26 RBIs, 43 strikeouts, 25 walks. So pretty good ratio in that department. Good on-base percentage. So Christian Yelich off to a good start in his first full season.
It's been a struggle lately for Emilio Bonifacio. He is 0-2 now against Tommy Hanson, 0-for-1 in this ball game. Hansen, pitch number 70 coming. And Bonifacio goes after the breaking ball in the dirt. So he's 0 for 2. And here comes Brad Hand for his second Major League AB.
Well, Hansen just really extending and expanding that strike zone. Got ahead and then said, okay, here comes that curveball out of the zone. If you're going to swing, I'll get the strikeout. And he got Bonifacio to chase it. A lot of firsts for Brad Hand. He might as well get his first hit out of the way.
Hansen's fastball is up. You heard his dad talk about what an all-around athlete he was, leading scorer on the hockey team. Played first base when he wasn't pitching.
You know, when you think about it, most Major League players were that.
Liner into left.
Hey, almost got it.
And Prado is there to make the catch. 5 in the books and a 1-run game right now with the Braves up 1-0.
Disponible en español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
Cookie and Raul join us now. Hi, guys.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Good to see you.
We just spoke with Jose Fernandez, and what a story. And, guys, just the courage that it must have taken for him 4 times to try to escape from Cuba and to finally do it. And you know, saving his mother in the ocean, finally getting here to join his father in Tampa.
Well, I think, Richie, you know, you have to be absolutely desperate because the situation in Cuba is very bad right now, and anytime that they have an opportunity and to get out of the country, but in those conditions to go out through the Atlantic Ocean to come to the United States, takes a lot of guts. What happened, whether he had to jump off the boat to swim and try to get he didn't know who he was, right. and it was his mother.
Yep.
So his savior brought it back to the United States, and now the opportunity to establish himself here as a big leaguer, make a lot of money. Boy, that story deserves to be a movie. Actually, to be a movie.
Hey, and how about the effort tonight from Brad Hand, who was a second-round pick in 2008?
Outstanding. What do you think?
You know, he settled in. I think he's used his changeup a little bit better the last few innings.
He sure
and
did.
He looks very comfortable out there.
He sure did. The butterflies happened to everybody, you know, the first inning when he walked up first at batter. But after that, settled down. And I got a new cliche for him.
Yeah.
I know that he can handle well the Braves.
Soft line drive. It seems like the butterflies for him have arisen when he's had to go after a baseball, either covering first or that ground ball back to the mound where he flat fell over.
Well, that's true, but he's, we're talking about 21 years old. He's going to be okay. It's going to take time, as we have talked about the rest of our ball club here. Stanton, the Coghlan, the Morrisons. Their experiences, that they're going through right here in the big leagues. They have to learn through those, and they're going to make their mistakes. But we have to be consistent with them and keep on teaching them. That's the only thing. Repetition, repetition.
I think one of the best things also, guys, is he gave up that walk to start the game. After that, no walks, and he's going after hitters. He's not scared. He's using his stuff and using the defense behind him.
Yeah, he's given up just the home run. That bunt is popped up. Gabby comes in and makes a tremendous catch.
La atrapa Gabby.
La Trapa Gabi. I like that.
La Trapa Buena.
Yeah, buen joseo. Good hustle.
All
right, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Great job.
Okay.
Tremendo out.
I like that. Tremendo.
Yeah, that is great. And I'll tell you the other thing about Brad Hand. I'm looking back at his day-by-days this year in Double-A. He's had just 2 games, 100 pitches, 101 pitches, 100 on the nose. He's thrown 96 tonight. I think back in the second inning, I talked about you'd be happy if you got 5 innings out of Brad Hand. One more out, and he will have given Edwin 6 super innings.
Now, Alex Gonzalez normally has a sour face. He was known for that as a Marlin, but even more sour after that call on a pitch that was definitely low. Gonzalez didn't like it, and he had every reason not to like it, but the count's 0-2, and Hand is out in front. Remember, it was Gonzalez that homered against him back in the 4th inning. 0-2 coming. Changeup misses outside. 1-2. Gonzo, of course, a big part of the World Championship team with his dramatic home run and his terrific defense.
Well, so many times we've talked about that infield in 2003 with Gonzo and Louis up the middle.
Changeup got him. Brad Hand in his major league debut through 6 has given up just the 1 hit. 100 pitches right on the nose. Goes 6 innings, 1 hit, a run, a walk, 6 strikeouts. He throws 100 pitches. It looks like he's done for the night. And let's go down below to Craig Minervini.
Thank you very much, Rich. I don't know who's running the city or town hall in Chaska, Minnesota, because they got about half the executives here, including the mayor of Chaska. Now, that's quite a debut to have the mayor fly down on short notice on taxpayer money. And no,
oh, get out of here. Don't be
that's just a joke.
Not taxpayers' money. This is our own.
It's a joke. We like the kid.
Yeah. Don't. Not this baby.
No, we're just teasing. It's great to see you and the whole group come down and just tell me how big a deal this is back home.
This is. you know what the whole thing is? I don't know how many people really know it at home. It's filtering now. I know it's really hit the local media, and talking with Brad's agent, Matt, was telling me that it's really hit the media wave. I mean, the only reason I got it is through our city administrator and our local group of people that are saying, hey, we've got this opportunity. We found tickets really cheap, and we just said, you know what, how often do you do this? I mean, really, there's like 3 or 4 of us that hopped on a plane without anything. I mean, we came down with the clothes on our back and just said.
You can do that with Florida. Mark Winchell is the mayor. Now, Brad's mom actually also works in your department?
Brad's mother, Barb, is the assistant finance director for the city. So she happened to be down here just as a vacation watching Brad in the minors. And all of a sudden, it was one of those deals, oh, by the way, Mom, I'm coming up. And we had kind of heard rumblings, so we had kind of known about it maybe since last Thursday. I think Matt called me and said, hey, we've got this opportunity. Are you in? I go, yeah, I'm in. I'm going to clear my schedule. And then I got a call Sunday night from Matt and said, hey, we're going to Miami. And it was just like
here
that.
You are. Great to see all you guys. I'll tell you what, they're rooting loud and a lot to cheer about to see Brad come out and throw 6 innings. I do see some activity in the bullpen. Guys, what? He's about 100 pitches. I guess the question is he going to come out or get another couple hitters in the 7th inning? We'll see. Thanks a lot. Good to see you, Mr.
Thank you. I hope he comes back. It'll be great to see him come back out. If he gets in a little trouble, they've got somebody warmed up. But it'd be pretty cool. He's one hitter, 6 innings. You can't ask for more than that.
He did a great job. Good to see all you guys. Good supporters here. They've been screaming loud for Brad Hand tonight, and why not? Back to you.
As they should be.
That's good stuff. Yeah, he is coming out. He's had 100 pitches.
Coughlin draws a walk. Chris Coughlin's been on base every time tonight. He's doubled and walked twice. We knew that the Marlins were struggling scoring runs. The Braves come in struggling scoring runs, so maybe it's not a surprise that the two teams have scored 1 run and have 3 hits between them as we're here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, we saw Chris Coughlin with a leadoff double and stayed at second base in the 1st inning. And now's an opportunity. He's on base, nobody out, to try to do something to at least tie this game. The last thing you want to see is for Brad Hand to take a loss in a game like this, the way he pitched.
Omar Infante bounced to third back in the 1st and then bounced into a double play in the 3rd. That ground out in the 1st, that at bat in the 1st was a big one because Coughlin had doubled to lead off the Marlins first, and the Fish couldn't move him over and they couldn't get him in.
By the way, our ratings just went up in Chaska.
Chaska, south of Minneapolis, what, about half an hour?
Brad told me yesterday about 25, 30 minutes.
Hansen to Infante. And it's down low. The Marlins, you talked about neither team tearing it up with stolen bases. We saw that the Braves have stolen the least amount of bases in the National League. The Marlins, the 3rd least.
And each team not with good percentages either.
David Ross behind the plate, maybe the backup catcher, but he's probably a better throwing catcher than Brian McCann. Infante fouls it back and out of play. Ross came into this year with a career caught stealing percentage at 39%, and that's really, really good. He hasn't. He's gone kind of just the commando mask. No fancy design on it.
See, that would never fly in NASCAR.
No, he'd have logos.
There's not enough logos on it.
But rarely do you see a catcher these days with the hockey type mask, and that's what they call that type of mask, that doesn't have at least something painted on it. That's kind of the player that David Ross is. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. Coughlin's running, little hit and run, and Infante fouls it back. Marlins put the game in motion. And it's 2-2.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez was thinking about it before. That's why he pitched out. And once the pitch out took the count to 2-1, then Edwin put it back on. Marlins took 2 out of 3 from the Braves in Atlanta. Last year, just 7 wins out of the 18 games the two teams played.
Count 3-2. Got Logan Morrison on deck. Gabby Sanchez behind him.
I think Chris Coghlan, I think you have to do this when you're struggling scoring and you're down by a run. Coughlin's going to be on the move. 3-2, nobody out.
There he goes. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. Ross's throw is offline, and Coghlan steals the base. Tough pitch to throw on, a breaking ball, plus Ross had to wait till the swing cleared. And Coghlan got a pretty good jump, too.
Yeah, he did. Real good jump. He looks. He just wants to see what the batter is going to do. And when he sees the swing and miss, he knows it's going to be tough at second base. Been tough for Omar Infante. The 3-game series in Atlanta, Omar was 1 for 13, and he's 0 for 3 tonight against his former team.
Here's Logan Morrison. We are having some issues with Twitter, but we do have plenty of emails. Lee in Orlando has tweeted a question and now has emailed it as Lomo digs in against Hansen. With so many great Marlins that have come and gone over the years coming back for a homecoming, which homecoming have you looked forward to the most? Who's the guy you were happiest to see when he showed up here in a different uni? Not that you were happy to see him go, but just happy to see him.
This year?
No, your entire career.
Any of the guys from the World Series teams, championship teams?
For me, it was, and love Dan Uggla, love Cody Ross, and love guys like that. When I got to see Mike Lowell back here, didn't Lowell come in with the Red Sox?
Mm-hmm. And it'll be nice seeing Cody Ross coming back here.
Yes.
The Giants don't come here for a while, but he was in a World Series. He was a key part of the Giants winning that World Series, and certainly one of the more popular Marlins to ever wear Marlin uniform.
It was great to see. The thing about homecomings is oftentimes we get to see those guys before they get here. Like we saw Uggla in Atlanta. We see guys in spring training often before they come back and play here.
I always enjoy seeing Craig Counsell when he comes back.
Gabby Sanchez waits on deck. All right, here's
certain
Morrison.
guys. I'll tell you a guy that was always one of my favorites. Juan Pierre. Whenever Juan Pierre comes back, whatever team he's with, he's fun to see.
Morrison breaks his bat on a pop in a shallow right center. Coming on is Schaefer, and he makes the catch. So a frustrating AB for Lomo. He's 0 for 3 in the ball game. Here comes Gabby. It's your chance to play catch with Gabby. Just go to JiffyLubeCatch.com for the Play Catch with Gabby Sanchez sweepstakes. 2 lucky winners will be selected to play catch on the field with Gabby prior to the June 21st game against the Angels. Log on to JiffyLubeCatch.com today. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Marlins. Fastball up and in. So there's Coghlan for the second time in scoring position. Gabby was called out on strikes with Coghlan at second in the first. Tommy Hansen just over 90 pitches now. He buries that one. Got Dobbs on deck. Hansen making his 13th start for the Braves.
Dobbs has had a couple of good swings tonight, too. He's hit the ball well, 2 fly ball outs. So I would think one of the things that Ross talked to Hansen about, they'd rather see him go after the right-handed bat of Gabby Sanchez.
It's outside. Hansen wanted it, and the count's 3-0.
Gabby, one of the few that has had success along with Dobbs with runners in scoring position.
All right, here you go. It's the 3-0 count, and you got a runner in scoring position. We talked about it with the young hitters.
Because Gabby's been successful, I give it to him. He might have had it. We've seen him swing 3-0. On the other hand, you might not give it to him because you have Greg Dobbs on deck.
He didn't exactly get one right down the middle.
No, he didn't get a cookie. It was actually off the plate.
3-1. It's up, and a nice job by Gabby Sanchez, and that's going to give Dobbs an AB.
That's 4 walks for Tommy Hansen.
Roger McDowell, the pitching coach of the Braves, comes out. Of course, the Marlins and the Braves in the Chevy standings, trailing the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies leading the division. There's a look at it. The Phillies at 36-24. Fish in Atlanta 4 back. The Mets are 3 under and 7.5 back. But the Nationals just lost a tough one last night in extra innings. They are 10 back.
Yeah, in spite of the continued hotness of Mike Morse. Hit a home run, had 3 RBIs, a couple of hits in that game in San Francisco. Dodgers, by the way, beating the Phillies 4-1 in the 6th inning.
Morse hit a grand slam, what was it, 2 games ago in extra innings?
Yeah, he's just been on fire.
So now here's Dobbs. Gabby Sanchez at first, Chris Coughlin at second. Marlins trail the Braves 1-0. Dobbs has flied to right, line to center. And Hansen misses up.
This is one of those at bats, and at least you have a guy like Dobbs who's been around, that you want to clear your mind. You don't want to go up there and think, I've had success with runners in scoring position. The club has really struggled lately. I'm really needed here. You have to get that out of your mind and just go up there with the same game plan you've had.
Tried to turn on that fastball, and the count's 1-1. Dobbs has been the Marlins guy with runners in scoring position. See the Fish on the season at .239, and tonight 0 for 4. Horrendous on the homestand as well. But Dobbs with runners in scoring position came into play at .359. Breaking ball didn't come far enough, and it's 2-1.
And you got the good news. You have a little speed at second base and Chris Coughlin.
See what he gets. 2-1. 2-1 breaking ball. We got Mike Stanton on deck. Counts 3-1.
And you have a busy bullpen for Atlanta. Scott Proctor and George Sherrill.
Dobbs waiting on a 3-1 offering. He went after.
Well, he was. There was no way in Dobbs's mind. He was thinking slider. And he tried to get to that fastball, and he got a pretty good slider from Hansen.
Side swing look.
And now you really don't know what to think because you saw a 3-1 slider. He could throw that or he could go back to the fastball.
Runners on the move. 3-2 with 2 outs. Not quite yet. This will be the 100th pitch of the ball game for Tommy Hansen. Fastball in. Dobbs walks. Bags are loaded, and here comes Stanton. Proctor is ready in the bullpen.
Very similar to the pitch that, remember, Logan Morrison was called out on. It was inside, so was the one to Lomo, but that one was called a strike. That one there, a ball. And it sets the stage for Mike Stanton. Talked about the Marlins have hit 4 grand slams this year.
Stanton walked in the second, bounced to third in the fifth, so they're loaded. Heck, a base hit will do here. Up the middle. Ugla just beats him to the bag. And Hansen gets out of it. And the Marlins still trail 1-0. Florida sports teams log on for post-game coverage from tonight's matchup. Read how the Heat are getting closer to redemption. For more Heat coverage, check out the NBA Finals Central. It's all on FoxSportsFlorida.com. Log on now. Not a lot of hitting going on in this one. Marlins turn to Edward Mujica. He gets Martin Prado, Chipper Jones, and Freddie Freeman in the 7th. Braves and Marlins first of 3. In a game started by Brad Hand, his major league debut. The youngster throws 100 pitches, 6 innings, a hit, a run, a walk, and 6 strikeouts.
Had 13 out of 20 first pitch strikes, and showed a nice demeanor out there on the mound.
Mojica's fastball sails high. It is an email Tuesday, but in tight games, oftentimes we aren't able to get as many in as we'd like. Though this one caught our eyes. Michael from Pembroke Pines. Don't you think that Tommy Hansen looks like a good addition to the cast of Dukes of Hazzard? Even though he is a Southern California guy, you're right. FoxSportsFlorida.com is where you can log on. Click on the Marlins link and scroll down and find the spot to send in an email. 2-2 coming to Prado. Misses away. Prado is 0 for 2. Twice he's flied to Coughlin in center. You mentioned Juan Pierre on the telecast. This is from Charles in Pompano. Whatever happened to Alfredo Amezaga, who is unleashing him now?
Well, he we talked about him. He had been called up from Colorado Springs, AAA affiliate of the Rockies. He was with the Rockies, but then I think last week he was sent back down.
See, that would be a guy when he comes back to this ballpark.
Be great to see.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm smiling already. Thank you.
Mojica strikes out Martin Prado. One Venezuelan striking out another. So an out here in the 7th. Stop by any Metro PCS store in Miami, Broward, or Palm Beach before July 10th. Register to win a trip for 2 to see the Marlins play in San Diego on the 19th and the 21st of August. 3-game series in San Diego. Trip includes airfare, hotel, and tickets to all 3 games. Don't wait. Stop by your local Metro PCS store today. Metro PCS, wireless for all. Chipper Jones trying to elevate.
Follow Rich and me around for fish tacos. I know we'll make one stop for sure.
Tin fish?
Yeah.
The ballpark in San Diego is terrific. The neighborhood is great, and the food is fabulous. So it should be a great trip. Let's check in with Allison as Chipper Jones makes out number 2. Allie?
Guys, Freddie Freeman coming up to bat, and he's missing the pepper to the salt and pepper nickname bestowed upon him and Jason Hayward. Hayward on the DL with his sore shoulder. And these two are not only the projected future of the Braves organization, they're also best friends. Met in 2006 at a high school All-American game. And little did they know they'd be drafted by the same team, just 64 spots apart. And they lived together for 3 years through the minors, including last year when Hayward made it to the big leagues and Freeman was still playing for Gwinnett. Freeman said that was a little tough, having gone through the systems with Hayward, to have him be there and him still in the minors, but he said it gave him more incentive, made him work harder. And now they no longer live together since they're both in the bigs, but just 10 minutes apart, and they've been texting a lot since Hayward has been rehabbing his shoulder. Guys?
The Marlins version of that, Allison, and it's a very similar story in that for the last 3 years, everybody at the major league level for the Braves have been hearing about wait till Hayward and Freeman get here. We've been hearing wait till Logan Morrison and Mike Stanton arrive. Here's the 0-2. Mojica's fastball misses up. Morrison in left field. Stanton, of course, in right field. And I think Mike is still grumbling about his last at bat.
Yeah, he is. You can do that a little bit. You still have to focus on the hitter, but you can do that a little bit more in the outfield than in the infield. You'll see if you come to a game, every once in a while you'll check on maybe your favorite outfielder, and he's out there working on his hitting stroke in between pitches. You can get away with that in the outfield, but usually not in the infield.
Ground ball out to Infante, and he flips over to first. Marlins have had terrific work on the mound. 6 one-hit innings from Brad Hand and a perfect 7th from Edward Mojica. summary tonight.
We're going to focus on Brad Hand. He was outstanding in his Major League debut. High fastball for a strikeout. Only pitch and the only hit that he allowed was that solo home run from Alex Gonzalez. Good breaking ball to get Freeman. Change up to get Ugla. He had 6 strikeouts. He walked just 1. He handled himself exceptionally well. Nice job by Brad Hand. Now he needs his ball club, his new club, to get some runs out there.
John Buck, Emilio Bonifacio, and the number 9 spot, and it's Eric O'Flaherty who is first out of the bullpen. The Braves coaxed 6 innings out of Tommy Hanson, and he was darn good as well. Hanson gave up just 2 hits, did not give up a run.
He worked around 5 walks. He walked 5, struck out 6.
O'Flaherty misses down low to Buck. We have an email from Jupiter, from Dan in the Buck Kennard press box at Roger Dean Stadium, with the note that on June 8th in 2010, Brad Hand tossed a complete game shutout for the Hammerheads. And almost a year later, June 7th, he makes his Major League debut. And Dan's point is, what an incredible stretch of 365 days. Brad Hand, his best start as a minor leaguer came a day ago tomorrow, and tonight he goes 6 one-hit innings. The Alex Gonzalez home run, the only hit for the Braves.
That's great, and that's a great example of you see some of the youngsters playing in the Florida State League and Jupiter up in Roger Dean. You never know how quickly they're going to get here.
Neither do they.
And neither do they, no. That's a check. Good check swing by John Buck, who had a good at bat last time up and singled up the middle in the 5th inning.
Up the middle into center field again. So John Buck is 2 for 3. And the Marlins have their leadoff runner aboard again.
Even with Ugla shading a little bit up the middle, Buck stings this ball, and Dan Ugla just ticked it just off his glove. And Buck with his second base hit.
All right, what do you do here? You've got Bonifacio up. You got Wes Helms on deck.
Bonifacio's not swinging the bat well. You have him drop down a bunt, and you give Helms and Coughlin a shot. Can't really put a hit and run on. You don't have much speed at first base.
There's the bunt. O'Flaherty to Ugla, and Bonifacio successful on the sacrifice. And it's going to bring Helms up to get an at-bat against the lefty.
Well, part 1 of this equation is successful. Nice job by Bonifacio. And Wes Helms in his career 2 for 4 off O'Flaherty.
Top of the order, Chris Coughlin is on deck. Helms delivered a pinch hit in that last series, but he pops out here. Freeman makes the catch. So there are 2 outs, and here comes Coughlin. Been kind of a frustrating year for Wes Helms at the plate.
Lately, he's been a little bit better. Lately, 5 pinch hits in his last 16 pinch hit appearances.
Now, Coughlin has walked twice and has doubled, but that came against the right-hander Tommy Hanson, and the splits have been dramatic for Chris. Righties to lefties. Against lefties, just 108. That throw gets into center field, and Buck going nowhere. Ross figured he'd air it out, try to pick off another catcher.
Hey, the good news about Chris Coughlin, as you watch this attempt on the throw by Ross. No chance for Alex Gonzalez, but you have a real speedy center fielder, and Schaefer got to it quickly. Cogs is 3 for 5 against O'Flaherty.
And of course, he is terrific against the Braves. He's hit in 21 straight games against the Braves. Those are the O'Flaherty numbers. And that includes his double tonight.
There's only a handful of hitters that have had longer hitting streaks against certain clubs. Interesting names. Aramis Ramirez has a 27-game hitting streak against St. Louis. Ryan Braun a 23-game streak against Colorado.
I wouldn't have been surprised if you would have said Marlins for Braun.
For Braun. And Jacoby Ellsbury a 22-gamer against Baltimore. So Chris Coghlan right in that company.
Coughlin's walked 3 times tonight. It's been a very good night for Chris. He's identified pitches. He jumped on the one in the first for a double. And Infante comes up 0 for 3.
Well, Infante had a terrific series against the Brewers. He was 8 for 16 in a 3-hit game last night. So he would love to drive in a run, at least one run, tie this game against his former team.
Don't have a lot of speed with Buck at second. That one goes to the screen and bounces right back to Ross.
Boy, and that's heads up on John Buck's part. A lot of runners, if you're not real familiar with the ballpark, might take off as soon as they see the ball go over the catcher's glove and get by him. There might have been a mix-up on that pitch. That ball was catchable. But John Buck knows his part, knows how quickly a ball can bounce back.
Infante pops it up. And the Marlins' 7th inning is going to fizzle as Uggla makes the catch, and the Marlins leave 2 more. Another frustrating night for the Fish with runners in scoring position. Scoring position on this homestand.
0 for 7 tonight, Rich, with 8 men left on base.
That's an easy transition, Tommy, to the Tickets of America interactive poll. What do you like most about the new Marlins ballpark? The no rain delays out in front, 67%, 789-789. I was able to hack into the Twitter account. We've been having trouble with that. And so we'll get you some of the tweets here in the 8th as Ryan Webb comes in. He takes over for Mujica. Mujica worked a scoreless 7th, and that came after 6 one-hit innings by Brad Hand. His one hit that he gave up was the Alex Gonzalez home run. So into the Twitter account, here's what's in the Twitter mailbox tonight. We have an UGLA question from Michael. And it's not, will UGLA ever get another hit? Because he's out at first base. It's that old standard, what does UGLA stand for in Swedish? Isn't it owl?
I think it is. And that's an example of the way Dan UGLA plays, and in talking with Freddie Gonzalez before the game, and in talking to UGLA's hitting coach, Larry Parrish, they were saying, you know, he still plays hard, went up the line as hard as you could go right there, and actually made that routine ground ball a close play.
Here's David Ross. TJ wants to know, we were talking about homecomings and players coming back, and he wants to know, what about Dontrell Willis?
Yeah, but he hasn't come back.
He hasn't come back yet.
Yeah, if he came back, it'd be outstanding.
And he almost was able to come back. He had pitched so well, and we haven't checked on his numbers recently. He was in AAA with Cincinnati and pitching very well. So maybe we'll get the crack staff and see.
I think he's still kind of stalled out. I think he pulled a groin and had to go on the shelf and not pitch. And I don't think his numbers have changed a lot, so he may not be back active. If he is, he's only had a couple of starts.
We have some tweets about commercials that run during the game. Now, keep in mind, from where we are, we don't see or hear the commercials ever, because all we see is the production coming from this end going out to you in TV land. We don't see the commercials. And Nick says, Marlins commercials don't even make sense. How can the Marlins prove to the Braves that they run the National League East when both are 4 games off behind the Phillies? You're right about that. If that's what it says,
then that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. The Phillies right now
we totally agree.
Are running the East. Of course, there's another one about a commercial, and it says at least Fox Sports is not showing the Dan UGLA air conditioning commercial anymore. Here's Joe Mather.
Well, you never know that maybe they aren't, because that might get UGLA back on track.
Our Toyota trend, the Braves have not scored more than 7 runs in their last 28 games, and they are 15-13.
Yeah, we talked about the Braves. They're 5-5 in their last 10.
See, I heard about the Dan UGLA air conditioning commercial.
You never saw it?
I never saw it until I TiVoed a game.
Oh.
And went back just to specifically look for the commercials. Because when I watch one of our telecasts, it's usually on MLB.TV, and it doesn't have the commercials on it. And I saw it. And I hope Daniel got paid handsomely for it. Here's the 1-1. Not one of our favorites, and as you pointed out, you root for guys like UGLA as soon as they leave town.
Stand-up guy, always was with us and with the media.
Good breaking ball. And Mather goes down. Eric Hinsky is going to take the pinch hitting at bat here. So he'll hit for O'Flaherty. Hinsky was outstanding off the bench last year for the Braves. Heck, he ended up starting a lot of games just because of the injuries they had last year.
Well, he's actually done the same thing this year. He's started quite a few games.
What other tweets jump out? Tony wants to know, where does Hanley hit when he comes back? Maybe cleanup?
I got to think about that. I think if he's running and feeling well, you still keep him in the number 2 spot. Hinske, by the way, a couple of pinch hit home runs this year.
Fouls it back and out of play.
The problem is, and again, this is when a fan speaks, they want to just put somebody in a part of the lineup. But then you have to think of the rest of the lineup. You have to think of everybody else, who you want to hit in certain spots.
Here's the 0-2. In the air. And Infante is there, and he makes the catch. And so the good bullpen continues for the Fish. Mujica for an inning. Webb for an inning. Pair enjoying themselves, apparently. Hey, Johnny Venters. Look at the numbers that Venters has put up. This is his 33rd appearance already, and his earned run average, he is .50. So Venters is part of a very good and very young Braves bullpen.
Yeah, they're well rested, especially the two guys at the back end, Kimbrel and Venters, because they were not used Sunday night. They played Sunday night game. Yesterday they had the off day. So Freddie Gonzalez has been running the two arms out there a lot, but they have great stuff. And you could see that by the numbers of Johnny Venters.
Venters misses inside.
Mostly hard fastballs and sliders, and occasional changeup, but he comes right at you with hard stuff.
Venters is 26, and he's gone 3-0 on Logan Morrison. His ERA is the best among Major League relievers. And the batting average against, second best amongst all Major League relievers.
95 with that 3-0 fastball.
Left-handed hitters are just 4 for 34 against him. And it counts 3-2. That's quite a combination with Kimbrel and Venters. There's the spray chart. 3-2. Got him.
And that fastball had some movement on it as well. 95 and just moved down a little bit, moved away. Look at that. Wow. If I had not seen 95, I would have thought that was a slider.
Because of the downward movement.
Yeah.
Here's Gabby Sanchez. Venters misses away. Sanchez walked back in the 6th inning. Runs have been tough to come by for the Marlins, and they've been tough to come by for the Braves. Gabby drives it in the air to center. Schaefer covers a lot of ground, and he makes the catch. So you got Venters, who's so tough on lefties, and for Freddie Gonzalez, this is a perfect time to bring him in because he got Morrison, he gets through Sanchez, and now here comes Dobbs. Not that right-handed hitters are lighting him up at all. But,
no, they're not.
But he's so dominant against lefties. JM Lexus presents leaders of the game. ERA, the Braves 3.07.
One of their real strong points, their bullpen.
JM Lexus price made us #1. Click jmlexus.com to find out how.
You know, they have a real good mix down there. You just talked about Kimbrel, the two young guys, Venters and Kimbrel. They have veterans, Scott Proctor, George Sherrill, O'Flaherty in between. He's been around, Scott Linebrink. So a very solid bullpen for the Braves.
Two 2-0. Leo Nunez in the Marlins pen. So if you see Venters here in the 8th, does it follow that we'll see Kimbrel in the 9th?
Absolutely.
That's been the combination for the Braves. Dobbs off the end of the bat, and he flares that one over Alex Gonzalez's head.
Well, you pointed out not too many lefties have gotten hits off Johnny Venters. Greg Dobbs will take that one.
And Dobbs is going to leave for a pinch runner. Ozzie Martinez comes in. Dobbs a 1-for-3 night, and here's Ozzie with Stanton at the plate.
Well, what Edwin can do, he can move Bonifacio over to third and have Ozzie stay in the game at short.
Man, his fastball, that one tailed away from Stanton. The one that he struck Gabby out on went down and in against the right-handed hitter.
Yeah, by no means is it a straight fastball.
A 1-0 Braves lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. Tommy Hanson went 6. Gave up a couple hits, did not give up a run. Eric O'Flaherty gave up a hit and a walk, did not give up a run.
The low strike for the most part has been there tonight. So Tim Welke, the home plate umpire, has been consistent. That one right there.
Stanton strikes out and then pops Ross in the head, and he kind of stumbles and flips it over to first. Let's hope Ross is okay. Johnny Venters a scoreless 8th, and the Marlins still without a run. A strikeout for Stanton, and it can't feel good for David Ross. The Marlins, our SunTrust Performance Play of the Game, Mike Stanton. A double play from early in the game, Freddie Freeman getting doubled up. Jordan Schaefer back to the mound. Webb picks it up, flips to first.
Yeah, we told you the changes that we'd probably see. Ozzie, who came in to pinch run, stays in the game at short. And moving over to third, Emilio Bonifacio. Well, the bullpen has not allowed a hit. They have been absolutely tremendous. And not to mention how terrific Brad Hand was in his Major League debut.
Alex Gonzalez with a home run in the 4th inning. A pair of strikeouts around that homer. Now with 6. Outside corner.
There was the young right-hander we were talking about last inning.
Webb to Gonzo. Derek Lowe, Ricky Nolasco tomorrow night. Alex Gonzalez now 34. Spent 8 years with the Marlins. And with his glove, it bounced around Boston a couple times, Cincinnati.
He had that real bad knee injury with Cincinnati that kept him out for quite some time.
But last year, he really found his mojo in Toronto. And then the Braves acquired him, sending Yunel Escobar up to Toronto. Infante gets around it and gets Gonzalez at first.
Yeah, Gonzo fractured his left knee and missed all of the 2008 season.
Here comes Prado now. So the Braves have just the one hit, the Gonzalez home run. Prado's 0 for 3, and it's a 1-0 game. The Marlins have 4 hits, have left 9 runners on. So if the previous 5 losses were not frustrating enough, here's a night where a kid makes his Major League debut, gives you 6 innings of 1-hit ball. The bullpen hasn't given up a hit, and the Marlins are down 1-0. That's because Tommy Hanson was outstanding, and the Braves bullpen has been terrific. Eric O'Flaherty, Johnny Venters, and Craig Kimbrell to come. Sharp ground ball, that's getting into left field. Atlanta has their 2nd hit. Martin Prado, one of the underappreciated players in the game until last year.
Yeah, if you talk to Braves fans and those who follow Atlanta, Prado and Brian McCann have been the 2 steady guys this year, producing runs.
Prado finally making an all-star team last year, and it's he hit 307 last year. It's not like that was a big surprise. His career average coming into this season, 307.
He's hit over 300 the last 3 years.
Now Chipper, and he takes outside. Chipper's season, of course, last year cut short by a torn ACL, and went into the offseason rehabbing for that, and came to spring training in what many felt the best shape he's been in a long time. Which, for a guy who's 39 and was talking about retirement, was certainly good news to come back in this type of shape and seemingly with the hunger to keep playing.
Well, he gives you those great at-bats. 34 strikeouts, 30 walks on the year. Over 2,500 hits.
Prado's at first. 1-1 to Chipper. It's a swing. says Jim Reynolds.
It's that changeup we've seen Ryan Webb use very effectively. Even though he missed with it, he wanted to get that changeup down, but even though it was up, he got Chipper Jones to commit.
Throw to first. We have crack staffers all over the place. One of our favorites is Aaron out in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Charlton, who works for Stats. And
What's up, Aaron? How you doing?
He sent us a note about Brad Hand's start. Since the end of World War II, only one pitcher has started, thrown 6+ innings, allowed 1 hit, and was a losing pitcher in the game in which he makes his debut. Pitches in, and the throw hits the runner. Prado goes down and is back on the bag. A painful stolen base in a weird play at second. And that ball seemed to hit him right around the left knee.
Well, we talked about how the Braves don't run much. That's only Prado's second steal, and he's been caught 5 times. Tough play for Buck. Chipper ducks out of the way. Throw sails a little bit out of the reach of Martinez, but right into the knee of Prado. Watch his, I think, left knee. We'll get a little better look with Foxmo. Right on that left knee.
So Prado being tended to by the Braves training staff. Anyway, to finish the note, Mike Thompson for Washington in the American League in '71 against the Baltimore Orioles went 7 innings, allowed 1 hit, 2 runs, 1 earned. He walked 9, and he struck out only 1, and he was the losing pitcher. Thompson finished his career in 1975 with the Braves and went 0-6 with the Braves. He was 1-15 in his career.
So the Marlins still have an opportunity to erase that statistic.
So Brad Hand does not join the likes of Mike Thompson. Freddie's out there. It was good to see Freddie back. And Carlos Tosca. We had a chance to see those guys in spring training, of course, and when the Marlins were in Atlanta. Well, the count's 2-2 on Chipper. Prado is at second. Struck him out, outside corner. Chipper didn't like the call. Ryan Webb pitches a scoreless night, but the Marlins are down 1-0. Florida, brought to you by Marooney. South Florida, when you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONEY. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By your local Chevy dealer, 1.4-liter turbocharged engine and 6-speed automatic transmission. The all-new Chevrolet Cruze. See your local Chevy dealer. And by Florida Power & Light, FP&L is constantly working to make its systems stronger, smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient to offer reliable service today for years to come. Visit fpnlconnect.com to learn more. 1-0 Atlanta in the bottom of the ninth. And as we expected, the fine young closer of the Braves is in. Craig Kimbrell. John Buck swings and misses at a breaking ball.
And Rich, no surprises with Kimbrell. He's not going to try to trick you. Hard fastballs, hard sliders.
Kimbrell out of Huntsville, Alabama. He was a third-round pick in 2008. So he's arrived here pretty quickly. Minor league pitcher of the year in 2009. 21 games last year. He was dominant last year in those 21 games. And he just carved up John Buck. Slider, slider, fastball. That easy. 3 pitches.
Yeah, and that's why the retirement of Billy Wagner was not that upsetting with the Braves, because they knew they had a backup in Craig Kimbrell. And between Venters and Kimbrell, they had a couple of dandies, a couple of young guys, one lefty, one righty, who can really throw.
Marlins need a base runner. Here's Bonifacio. He's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt. Scott Cousins has emerged on deck. In a homestand where the Marlins have struggled to get hits with runners in scoring position, that has continued tonight here against Atlanta. Bonifacio sends it out to left center field. Schaefer over there, and he makes the catch. And so Scott Cousins comes up with 2 outs and nobody on, and the Braves up 1-0. Cousins had a pinch hitting appearance last night and struck out.
It's not so tough for a young hitter. He gets those pinch hit appearances. Usually when it's late in the game, he's seeing one of the game's best. Closer who has great stuff.
Almost half of his at-bats have been pinch hitting at-bats. 3 for 22 as a pinch hitter. 47 ABs. Kimbrell misses down low with a fastball. And he went after a slider in the dirt. It's 1-1.
They gear up for that fastball, and he has those 2 good pitches.
Late call on the strike by Tim Welke.
And not a good call. Seen a lot of those tonight.
Kimbrell ready to pounce. Is 1-2 to Cousins. Fastball misses up. 2-2. No runs on 4 hits for the Fish. A run on just 2 hits for the Braves. 2-2 coming. Fastball low. Coughlin's up next. Cousins trying to keep this inning going. Ross steps out. Now the 3-2. Missed. Cousins walks. The Marlins are still alive. Here's Coughlin. You've got excellent speed at first base.
Well, to kind of put it in perspective, you talked about the 1 run on 2 hits for the Braves. The Marlins have the 4 hits. They've also drawn 7 walks. So they've had 11 base runners in this game tonight.
Coughlin, a line drive. Gonzo snares it. And the Braves shut out the Marlins in game 1 of this 3-game series. 6 innings by Tommy Hanson. And then 3 Brave relievers. Eric O'Flaherty, Johnny Venters, and Craig Kimbrell. Overpowering stuff from the Braves staff tonight. And the Marlins continue to scuffle. They have dropped a season high 6 in a row now, 8 of their last 9. And another tough one for the Fish tonight. Impressive stuff from the Braves. Marlins Live is coming up.